Hello, this is Beverly with the Intuitive Interior. It is time for your January 21 I Ching reading. Dun, da, da. So we made it through 2020. Hate to break it to y'all though, but the rat year isn't done with us just yet. So the way that the Chinese metaphysicians have calculated things is based on the lunar cycle. So the lunar year has a different start and stop time than our regular Gregorian calendar year. I think you probably figured that out by now if you've been watching this channel for any length of time. So the official end to the rat year, that lovely metal yang rat, has been nibbling away at our sanity, well, since February of last year, isn't going to actually be done until February of this year. So we still have one more month left of this rat year, even though we now, are saying, okay, we're in the year of the ox. Not yet. So close, but so far. So why this makes this month in particular, though, so challenging is because we are technically in an Earth Ox month. Now, the Earth Ox is, very dependable, very grounded. Think about the oxen they use that are plowing the fields. They tend to, be very focused, very driven, one foot in front of the other. Not a whole lot of, zipping around and getting real creative. The rat energy is quite the opposite. So in tradition, the myth of, in Chinese culture, the Jade Emperor had asked for all of the animals, the 12 animals of the zodiac to come and he would place them in order of when they arrived. And the rat, being the sneaky little trickster that he is, knew there's no way that he could make it there first in line. So he convinced the ox to let him ride on his back. Do me a favor though. So the ox, very trusting, very obliging, not really prone to conflict. Is like, sure, jump on, no big deal. I'll ride in, you can be number two. Except right before the ox reached the palace gates, the rat jumped off and zipped through, and that's how the rat became number one at the beginning of the animal cycle. So now the ox is number two. Needless to say, there's a little friction between rat and ox, and so that's what we've got going on right now. We've got the tail end of the rat year. Everything that didn't get done before now is all trying to get shoved into the very end. Got that little, sticking stuff in their pouches and their cheeks and, squirreling away. Okay, it's rat squirrels. They do the same kind of thing. They like to hide things away and store things. So all of that's happening while the ox energy is very, again, still very focused. Like, okay, well, we're here. We're going to just keep on one step in front of the other. I know what we need to do. I expect that you're going to do what you need to do. I'm going to do what I need to do. And voila, The anticipation, of course, is that the ox energy it just assumes that everybody's going to be acting in good faith. The rat, however, not so much. We don't have the phrase rat think in our vocabulary for nothing. The rats will go and do whatever they need to do to get what they want. So it really was fascinating when I drew the I Ching cards. And I came up with, the very first one was number 64. It's called Before Completion. Now I want you to take a look at the image on this. You've got a little boy walking across a pond that has ice that is starting to crack behind him, but he can't stop. You can't stop when you're in the middle of something like this where it's cracking behind you. You've got to keep going. You can't celebrate until you're there, but you see that he's getting close to the end. So the end is in sight, he sees it. The words on here are uncertainty, doubt and hesitation, loss of faith, unstable conditions, be extra cautious, and discord. Now, for those viewers of mine who are here in the United States, we got a little precarious political stuff going on right now. January, there's a lot of transitioning happening in January. In addition to the Mercury retrograde that's going on at the end of January, yay, we have the obvious political stuff and the virus stuff. So, but we are so close to the end of the finish line that the focus line 6, man, it made me feel happy when I did that, because it is talking all about. It says sometimes the only thing that remains to be done before completion is to throw a party and celebrate what you've done. Enjoy, sing, dance, and play, but not to the point of unconsciousness. It's always a good, piece of advice. Every ending is the doorway to a new beginning, and you want to be fresh and alert when it happens. Now, the next card that I drew was number 60, limitations. Now, as human beings, we really hate limitations. We don't like it when people tell us, oh, you have to do this, or you have to do that, or you can't do this, or, absolutely, I forbid you to do that. But we all, as humans, do better with some limitations. Some people call them boundaries. And I think, we all benefit from boundaries. Think about a glass of water, like water. Water without boundaries just spreads out over a large diffuse surface, and it just kind of evaporates. But with boundaries, a glass, a pitcher, some kind of reservoir, then has the potential to give you drink, something to drink. It has the potential to water plants, very specific plants, so that those grow and not the weeds. And also it has the potential then to run the electric grid for an entire city in the form of like a power plant, the water generating electricity. So limitations, the card on here talks about self-discipline, practice, self-respect, introspection, ritual, cultivate patience, build up energy, and maturity. Yeah, so maturity has been a little bit challenging for some people these days, because I know I'm like you. I'm really chafing at all of these limitations and the quarantines and the lockdowns and the this and the that and the mask and the blah, blah, blah. But as I saw, the first card, the end is in sight. We're so close. You don't stop now in order to get to the end zone. You don't, yes, it's really hard. We've really been working hard at wading through the things that we're tired of doing. For many, this whole COVID experience has been a wonderful opportunity to go inside and look at, just that internal motivation for, well, why was I doing a certain job? Why was I not doing this? What did I never make time for in the past? So that type of introspection has been that limitation, that looking at how can I tap into this inner reservoir of knowledge, this literal body of knowledge, to use these limitations in a positive way. And, I know, there comes a point in time I was like, oh, okay, enough. Almost there. So close. This focus line on the limitations card, I'm just going to read this to line 2. It's even in times of limitation, there are always opportunities to step lightly over a crack in the sidewalk and carry on walking. Don't miss the moment by perceiving the crack as a treacherous abyss and holding yourself back. That would be a misunderstanding of how the nature of the times, which is to accept the constraints that are given to you and not to create unnecessary ones out of fear. Now, please look that last line. Do not create unnecessary constraints out of fear. So there's that balance again. What is the vessel that you are trying to work in? You don't need to reinforce it and provide more bars or anything like that, because you're doing fine. Okay. So we're so close. The last card for the I Ching is number 35, and that is progress. Any new talent, any new skill, any new adventure or direction requires practice, it requires patience, and it requires acknowledging when you've made progress. So advancement, gaining recognition, appreciation, achievements, acceleration, steady gains, and increased clarity. I mean, look at how happy this guy is. He's up there, he's dancing. He knows that he probably is, gonna make a few mistakes as he's dancing, but he's appreciating the fact that his body moves, the fact that he has the ability to express himself or herself. Although that was pretty much, a male figure. With this card, one of the things that is in my little book here says there's an old saying that in the bright light of day, all things become known. What that means is you turn on the light, that old adage, you turn on the light and all the cockroaches scatter. Well, sometimes you turn on the light and you can now see it glinting off the beautiful crystals or the beautiful flowers, So because this is a yin earth ox month, yin earth is the element that is, it's like, think of soil. Again, we talked earlier in this video, when I first started, I was talking about how think about the ox plowing the fields, the fertile soil. Whatever you have going on is going to multiply. So if you are operating out of an abundance of fear, more fear will show up. If you are being duplicitous in any way, shape, or form, that is going to get exposed. If you are acting out of kindness, out of generosity, that will be multiplied, because you will be able to see more opportunities to do that and then get that back in return. So yin earth is a very powerful, but very, it's not the same. You gotta use the power wisely. So what are you planting? What seeds are you planting? What seeds are you watering? That container, you remember we talked about that container of water, the limitations. How can you use the limitations to maximize the potential of whatever the situation that you're in, so that you can grow a beautiful garden rather than a bunch of weeds that have stickers and that hurt your feet? Yeah, I spent most of my childhood digging stickers out of my feet. I grew up on a farm, and I didn't like wearing shoes. I liked the mud state. It was squishing through my toes. So that's where some of my metaphors come from. Anyway, so this one is, the line number is 3. The importance of, and I've talked about this has really come up a lot with these readings, is the importance of community, the importance of looking out for the other person. And again, this reading reinforces it. It says, progress is not always best accomplished by individual pilgrims. Sometimes it takes being part of a group to reach the place where you intend to go. Now, if you're naturally a loner, consider joining with others now and see how far it takes you. If you're naturally a team player, it's your time to shine. Yeah, I get it. Team players, getting together with people, but we're still in a pandemic. And that's what this computer stuff is all about. You can find your tribe online, as long as the tribe or the community that you're trying to build has some diversity, because the best teams require they require a lot of different skill sets. If you limit yourself so much to just one niche after another, you never are able to fill things out. Sometimes that quirky, odd person that, you know, you think, oh, they wouldn't be able to help out. They might have exactly the right idea for you. Now, as another clarifying card, I pulled something from my Sacred Rebels deck. And this one, I thought it was beautiful. The power of attraction. So you've got these two people, you know, so it looks like it's all about, oh, bringing in love, okay, it might be, it absolutely might be, but it is also talks about opening your heart to what's coming towards you without surrendering your experience of the moment by being too future oriented. It is wanting you to focus on, yes, you want to look at your big vision, but just like the ox, the hardworking ox, one step in front of the other, you have to plow the field, then you plant the seed, then you water it, you weed it, and you nurture it until it's time to harvest it. And then, even after harvesting, you can't just relax and go, oh, I'm all done. You need to store it, find a market for it, make sure the field has what it needs to be regenerating, and then you start the whole process over again. So the power of attraction is not about you just, you know, you think it and then it shows up. The true power of attraction is recognizing the opportunities as they come your way, recognizing where you can be somebody's helpful person, or they're, you know, in a lot of the Chinese metaphysics, they talk about the noble person. Are you their noble person, or are you bringing in your own noble person? It is talking about recently completing a cycle or level of manifestation and transitioning into the next level of experience, like a big fish leaving a small pond, or you know, you kind of have to get used to things. We are about to begin, we are very much in the beginning stages of a whole new transition. There will be many times when you feel like you just started that new job and all you want to do is be able to find your way back to your desk after you figured out where the bathroom is, you know, let alone, you know, the complex filing or the right paths to, you know, the right roads to take to get to your office and you know, at all. You know, it takes a while to feel like you know the ropes when you start something new. And so it's very, very important right now with all of these cards together to look at patience, being kind to yourself, treat yourself and others as if you were all brand new beginners at various things. And again, by working together as a team, some will be a little more far, you know, they will have a different, you know, they'll know where the bathroom is. The other person will know where the kitchen is, you know, and still others will be able to give you the shortcuts. So that's why being kind with yourself, asking for what you need, giving yourself permission to have needs and to have them being met, and just keep that beginner's mindset. Now, if all of this gets a little too much for you, I'm going to just go ahead and hawk my own wares here. My joy water that I created, this is what helped me really get used to working in a new job, gosh, 15 years ago. It just is it's a blend of essential oils, and it helps to kind of cut through the overwhelm so that you can get that clarity. Because if you remember, one of the clarity cards that I had in here was number 35, that progress. You need clarity in order to make it to the next step and the next step and the next step. I hope this helps. I would say Happy New Year for all of those who are simply subscribing to the Western calendar. not quite Happy New Year for next year, but if you are interested in getting a 2021 energy update from a feng shui standpoint, if you're a previous customer, send me a message below. If you are interested in getting some other of those updates, well, go ahead and send me a message below too. I'll try to get something put on here fairly soon. And that's it for now. It's Beverly, and you have a great January.